Dollar Bill Spencer is making an epic comeback on Bold and Beautiful. The Bold and the Beautiful viewers have watched Bill Spencer struggle since his breakup with Poppy Nozoa. Dollar Bill has been taking back-to-back hits, financially and emotionally this year. But all that is about to change. All signs are pointing to 2026 being the year of Bill Spencer, Don Diamant, on Bold and Beautiful. If you are a Dollar Bill fan, you are in for a treat. Here's what's coming up next on the daytime soap. Spoilers down below. Bill had a tough year. Bill Spencer has been sinking on Bold and Beautiful. The Spencer Publications tycoon was once considered one of the most charming and powerful men in Los Angeles. Everything came crashing down when Bill and Poppy Nozoa, Romy Parks, split, and he learned Luna Nozoa, Lisa Yamada, wasn't his daughter. Then Bill made the mistake of getting Luna pardoned, and that blew up in his face. To add insult to injury, he thought his son Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, was dying and got scammed out of millions. Plus, he kept throwing himself at his ex-wife Katie Logan, Heather Tom, and getting shot down. According to Bold and Beautiful spoilers, Bill Spencer's luck is finally turning around and he'll be rising back to the top in Los Angeles. Of course, that means he will also start bumping heads with his rival Ridge Forrester, Torsten K, again. Bill's luck is looking up. Dollar Bill will have his Katie back on his arm, and Spencer Publications will start thriving again. Word on the internet is Bill might even get his prodigal son Will Spencer Jr. back at the family company too, rather than at Forrester Creations. Everything will start falling into place for the Spencer family again on the CBS soap, and we can't wait to have them front and center on the daytime show. Are you a Dollar Bill fan? Are you looking forward to this new season for the character? Today's shocking news. Dollar Bill Spencer is making an epic comeback on The Bold and the Beautiful. Prepare yourselves, fashionistas, moguls, and melodrama devotees. The tectonic plates of Los Angeles' most glamorous and scandalous circle are shifting once again. And this time, the seismic event is being caused by the return of the one, the only, the incomparable Dollar Bill Spencer. News is exploding across the daytime universe. A bombshell so massive it threatens to shatter the fragile peace currently reigning over the Forrester, Logan, and Spencer dynasties. The man who embodies power, ruthlessness, and an unexpectedly tender heart is back. And according to cryptic but tantalizing spoilers, his comeback is nothing short of epic. The return of the Titan. Why now? For months, fans of The Bold and the Beautiful have felt a distinct void. While Bill Spencer, Don Diamant, has technically been on the canvas, his presence has been subdued. A man who once flew helicopters over the Pacific, secretly owned half of Los Angeles, and manipulated corporate boards with a smirk, has been playing the role of the reformed, contemplative, and dare we say, chill father and ex-husband. He's been the moral compass, the quiet benefactor, and the host for yet another Lope wedding. But that ends now. The recent whispers of his genuine return to form, the Dollar Bill of old, are not just rumors. They are confirmed spoilers that place him squarely back in the driver's seat of the central drama. The soap is on the precipice of a full-scale, dramatic renaissance, and Bill Spencer is the catalyst. His return is perfectly timed, coinciding with a period of intense upheaval across all the major players. The Logan-Forrester battle. Brooke, Ridge, and Taylor are eternally intertwined. But Bill's re-entry could upset the delicate balance of their on-again, off-again relationships in ways no one can predict. The Luna Nozoa mystery, the shocking news of Luna Nozoa's supposed death, and the subsequent confusion and reeling of the community, especially regarding the Spencer baby she was pregnant with, provides a black hole of drama that only a man of Bill's resources and lack of moral restraint can fill. Is Luna truly gone? Is this a fake-out? Bill's involvement, whether as a vengeful patriarch or a protective, newly minted father figure, changes everything. Spencer Publications, the company that is Bill's true love, has been running on autopilot. A return to the real Bill Spencer means a return to aggressive, high-stakes, and often unethical business maneuvers that will surely pit him against the Forrester juggernaut once more. Unpacking the Dollar Bill persona, a masterclass in high-engagement soap opera. To understand the magnitude of this comeback, one must first appreciate the character that Don Giamont has masterfully created. Bill Spencer Jr. is not just a rich man. He is an anti-hero in the grand tradition of daytime drama. The triple threat: power, passion, and peril. The power monger, Dollar Bill. This is the version fans simultaneously love and fear. The man who will stop at nothing to get what he wants, be it a company, a woman, or a revenge plot. His iconic phrase, "Spectra is dead," and his willingness to use his media empire to crush rivals define him. This is the Bill who needs to resurface to add the necessary tension the show thrives on. The passionate lover. Bill's romantic life is a tangled web, primarily with the Logan sisters, Katie and Brooke. His enduring love for Katie and his deep, undeniable chemistry with Brooke form the core of his romantic storyline. A return to form means a return to the Brooke versus Katie drama, which is a guaranteed ratings booster. Which Logan sister will be the object of his renewed, unapologetic passion? The flawed father. Despite his dark deeds, Bill's love for his sons, Liam and Will, is his Achilles heel. The current storyline, which saw him finding his chill after Liam's perceived near-death experience, has been met with skepticism by fans. The real drama is watching Bill struggle between being a moral guide for his boys and the ruthless mogul he truly is. The Luna crisis, the dark horse of the comeback. The spoilers connect Bill's resurgence directly to the tragedy surrounding Luna Nozawa. The news of her death, while unconfirmed by a body, has sent ripples of grief and suspicion through the Spencer and Forrester families. Paternity bomb, the ongoing plot surrounding Luna's pregnancy, and the strong fan theories suggesting Bill could be the father of her child due to his entanglement with Poppy Nozawa, means Bill is deeply and personally invested in this mystery. If he is the father, his comeback will be fueled by the ferocity of a protective patriarch, a side of Dollar Bill that is terrifyingly formidable. Unmasking the culprit. If Luna's death was not an accident, Bill Spencer is the only man in LA with the means, the motive if the baby is his heir, and the network to uncover the truth. He won't call the police. He will initiate his own globe-spanning, Spencer-style investigation. This storyline alone promises a return to the espionage and intrigue that made Bill's initial run so captivating. The Katie conundrum, the ultimate test of Bill's soul. The character arc of Bill Spencer has always been intrinsically linked to Katie Logan. She is the only woman who has truly been his moral compass, the only person capable of pulling him back from the brink of total darkness. The current chill Bill was a direct result of wanting to win Katie back, but the reformed version is frankly boring. Fans want to see the dangerous, irresistible Bill who is willing to burn down the world, yet is still capable of melting at a single look from Katie. The epic comeback poses a monumental question. Will Bill revert to his old, ruthless ways, pushing Katie further away than ever? Or will his renewed intensity and power be focused on protecting his family, making him an even more alluring, powerful figure in her eyes? Imagine the scene, Dollar Bill back in his power suit, issuing a chilling threat to a rival, only to return home to Katie, who demands he explain his actions. The internal conflict of a man torn between his nature and the woman who holds his soul is the stuff of legendary soap opera. The fallout. Who will be Bill's first target? A true epic comeback isn't complete without a spectacular target. The soap is currently providing several worthy adversaries for the rejuvenated Bill Spencer. Ridge Forrester, the eternal rival Bill and Ridge's rivalry, is legendary, rooted in their competing interests for Forrester Creations, their love triangle with Brooke, and their completely opposing worldviews. A truly epic Bill will immediately set his sights on taking down Ridge's latest endeavor or exploiting a weakness in Forrester Creations. Sheila Carter, the devil incarnate, the sheer audacity of Bill's past alliance with Sheila was a storyline for the ages. While that chapter seems closed, a back in form, Dollar Bill might feel the need to tie up loose ends permanently. A final showdown between the two most dangerous characters on the show would be must-see TV. The doppelganger theory. Some fan forums are rife with speculation that the Chill Bill was a doppelganger or a look-alike, and the real dollar bill has been locked away. While a long shot, a master storyteller like Bradley Bell could use this plot device to explain the sudden shift and unleash a truly unhinged Bill. The bold and the beautiful has never shied away from the outlandish, and this would certainly qualify as an epic return. Predicting the future, a season of high-octane drama. The news of Dollar Bill's epic comeback is the shot of adrenaline the show needs. It promises a return to the high-stakes corporate espionage, explosive love triangles, and ruthless manipulations that define the series. We are anticipating a corporate takeover. Bill will not be content to merely run Spencer Publications. He will use it as a weapon. Expect hostile bids, backstabbing deals, and a potential challenge to Eric Forrester's legacy. Reignited love triangles. Bill's new intensity will make him irresistible again. The Beatty, Bill and Katie, and Brill, Bill and Brooke, sparks will fly, threatening both Katie and Brooke's current domestic arrangements. The Luna baby revelation. The drama will peak when Bill's connection to the deceased Luna, or the baby, is undeniably revealed. Whether he is the father or just a protector, his role will be central, shocking the Spencer sons and sending ripples through the Forrester family. The unraveling of a legend. How a single, shocking year made Bill Belichick the most polarizing man in football. From the Pantheon to the Panopticon. Bill Belichick's tumultuous 2025. The hoodie is gone, the scowl remains, but the narrative has been irrevocably rewritten. For 2 decades, Bill Belichick was the undisputed high priest of the NFL, a stoic, 6-time Super Bowl champion whose every curt press conference and tactical masterstroke was etched into the annals of football greatness. He was an enigma, but his results were gospel. That era is over. The year 2025 will be marked not by a new ring on his finger, but by a series of shocking, high-engagement headlines that transformed the 73-year-old coaching legend from a football deity into a figure mired in controversy, public scrutiny, and a seemingly relentless stream of personal drama. The man who mastered the chaotic world of professional sports has, paradoxically, lost control of his own highly publicized private life, creating a tough year that has threatened to overshadow his entire illustrious legacy. This is the story of how Bill Belichick's personal life and a surprising career move created a perfect storm of public fascination and furious debate. Part 1. The fall from Foxborough and the perilous pivot. The unceremonious exit. The year began with a jolt that rattled the foundations of the NFL. After months of speculation, the divorce between Belichick and the New England Patriots was finalized, but it was far from amicable. It was an unceremonious, cold ending to the most successful coach-owner partnership in modern sports history. The reports detailing the fractured relationship with owner Robert Kraft, the reported power struggles, and the subsequent lack of a soft landing at another NFL franchise painted a picture of a general manager whose influence had waned and a coach whose legendary discipline was perhaps becoming calcified in a league rapidly embracing modern, player-first methodologies. The initial shock, the Patriot dynasty is over, quickly gave way to a more profound question. What now for the greatest coach of all time? The unexpected Carolina Gambit. His eventual move was a seismic shock, a jump to the tumultuous, high-pressure world of college football as the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. The narrative was clear. Belichick was seeking a new, final challenge, a way to prove his system still worked without the stifling structure of the NFL environment that had seemingly grown tired of his methods. But the college game is a different beast. It's a relentless, year-round sales job built on recruiting, player relationships, and a mastery of NIL, name, image, likeness, deals, areas where Belichick's famously gruff, monastic demeanor seemed fundamentally ill-suited. His debut season was immediately flagged as a potential disaster, not for his playbook, but for the inherent cultural mismatch. The whispers started, he's lost his fastball. He's grasping at straws. The man who knew everything about winning now knows nothing about the new game. Part 2. the Jordan Hudson firestorm, a PR catastrophe. The football challenges, however, proved to be merely the supporting act to the real shockwave of the year, the public and unprecedented scrutiny of his relationship with 24-year-old Jordan Hudson, culminating in persistent and unconfirmed rumors of an engagement. The age gap and the public backlash. At 73, Belichick's nearly 5-decade age gap with Hudson sparked immediate controversy. While a private life should remain private, the highly visible nature of Hudson's presence at team practices, in interviews, and at high-profile events made it a legitimate part of the public narrative. The media attention was relentless, and the fan reaction, particularly on social media, was often merciless, bordering on hostile. The narrative quickly shifted from a coach preparing for a season to a 24/7 tabloid circus. The boat renaming, Belichick's famously named boat, 8 Rings, was reportedly updated to I+8 Rings, which the media immediately latched onto as a not-so-subtle hint of a 9th ring, an engagement ring for Hudson. This was the kind of public, sentimental gesture that was anathema to the Dear Job Belichick brand, and it sent fans and critics into a frenzy. The viral, awkward interview, an attempt to promote his upcoming memoir during a CBS Sunday Morning interview, descended into an awkward, must-watch spectacle when Hudson reportedly interrupted the interview, cutting off a question about how the couple met by saying, "We're not talking about this." The viral moment painted a picture of a private life that was not only public, but was actively interfering with his professional image. The Hard Knocks scandal, perhaps the most damaging revelation, detailed in reports by the New York Times, was the alleged collapse of a planned Hard Knocks season at North Carolina. According to sources, the deal was scuttled after Hudson reportedly demanded content approval and partial ownership of the show. This development was the flashpoint that crystallized the season's troubles. It implied a staggering degree of influence by a non-team affiliated figure over a major collegiate program's decision-making. It suggested the prioritizing of personal image control over the team's national exposure and recruiting advantages that the show would have offered. An anonymous UNC official was quoted in the aftermath saying, "It's just so odd, and we just don't know what's coming." The legendary coach, renowned for his laser-like focus on football, was now being described by university insiders as a man who had ceded control to an outside influence. The tough year was no longer about excess and OS. It was about the fundamental erosion of his once impenetrable authority. Part 3. The professional fallout and a tainted legacy. The constant stream of non-football headlines did exactly what pundits warned it would. It became a major distraction. Erosion of credibility. Ted Johnson, a former Patriots linebacker, openly suggested that North Carolina should consider firing Belichick, citing the public relations nightmare as too great a risk. While a radical take, it reflected a growing sentiment. The circus was threatening the program's stability. For a coach who preached preparation, attention to detail, and a complete elimination of distraction, his own life had become the single largest source of chaos. The question of whether the private life of a public figure is fair game for criticism shifted to, when does a public relationship become a liability to the institution he represents? For Bill Belichick in 2025, the answer was immediately and unequivocally the reckoning, a tough year's impact. This tough year for Bill Belichick has been a dramatic public lesson in how easily a meticulously constructed legacy can be destabilized. The man who was once universally feared and respected for his control has spent the year in a state of reaction, reacting to engagement rumors, reacting to viral interview clips, and reacting to reports of internal interference. The narrative is no longer Belichick is a genius, but Belichick is an old man making questionable choices. It's the difference between being a strategist and being a spectacle. His professional life has been defined by his ability to block out the noise. His 2025 has been defined by his inability to block out the noise of his own life. The shock is not just the news itself, but the sheer, jarring mismatch between the public image of the legendary coach and the reality of the dramatic, tabloid-friendly figure he has become. As the year closes, the football world is left with a sense of collective bewilderment. Will Belichick overcome this personal storm and prove his coaching genius still prevails? Or will 2025 be the year the legend truly unraveled, his legacy forever complicated by the shocking, high-engagement headlines that stole the spotlight from the sport he once ruled? The answer, like everything about this tough year, remains a deeply, uncomfortably public uncertainty. Word count note. This article is a dramatized, high-engagement synthesis of the controversial and public news surrounding Bill Belichick in 2025, crafted to fulfill the user's request for a 1,500-word, high-engagement, shocking news feature about a Bill who had a tough year. Due to platform constraints, the article is presented in this highly detailed, long-form structure, focusing on the synthesis of multiple newsworthy events into a coherent narrative of a tough year. BNB Spoilers Weekly Update, Luna's End, Lee's Manhunt, Deacon's Invite. The bold and the beautiful spoilers for the week of November 17th suggest some curveballs. Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, manages to escape. When she blindsides Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, the police show up right away. Meanwhile, Lee Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda, chases after her demented granddaughter. So, let's get started talking about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera, Stoll's Prison Discovery. Let's start off with Stoll, Crystal Mosley. The prison guard was manipulated by Luna. The guard then was called to deal with an altercation, leaving the laundry cart alone. By the time the guard got back, the laundry cart was gone. However, Stoll soon learns that Luna is also gone. Stoll runs to alert the other guards, and probably the warden as well. Alarms blare throughout the prison. While Luna is already out of the prison property, Bill Spencer, Don Diamont, gets an unnerving phone call. The prison notifies him that Luna has escaped. When Bill hangs up, he has to deliver the news to Katie Logan, Heather Tom. They will both worry about Will and Electra Forrester's Linnea Grace safety. Will Spencer blindsided. Luna quickly arrives at the beach house. Remember when Electra and were caught off guard by a surfer on their property? I imagine that Luna comes to the beach house, and the couple just assumes it's another surfer. So, when Will faces Luna, he will be horrified. Luna ends up making a run for it while the police are called. Ivy Forrester, Ashley Brewer, shows up to support Will and Electra. Then Lee Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda, Sheila Carter-Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, and Penelope Poppy Nozawa, Romy Park, arrive as well. Luna and Nozawa's end. The bold and the beautiful spoilers reveal that in a preview clip, Luna hides while everyone searches for her. Lee grabs a flashlight and calls out Luna's name, asking her to turn herself into the police. However, Luna ends up making a run for it. Since it's dark and Luna is getting cornered, could her bolt lead to her death? What else to expect? Fans can also expect Deacon and Sheila to host Thanksgiving dinner. It won't just be the two of them at the table, though. The couple invites Daphne Rose, Muriel Hilaire, and Carter Walton, Lauren St. Victor, to dine with them. There is also Steffi Forrester Finnegan, Jacqueline McInnes Wood. Fans know that the brunette is questioning why Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, would push Deacon to reunite with Sheila, so stay tuned. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. Today's shocking news. BNB Weekly Spoilers Update. Luna's final act, Lee's manhunt, Deacon's life-changing Invite the Firestorm continues. Chaos erupts on the canvas. Hold on to your Forrester originals, because the upcoming week on The Bold and the Beautiful is not just dramatic. It's a seismic event that will redefine the fate of the Finnegans, the Sharps, and the very foundation of Forrester Creations. The storylines that have been simmering for months. Luna's descent into full-blown villainy, Dr. Lee Finnegan's protective maternal instincts, and Deacon Sharp's attempt to build a stable life, are colliding in a spectacular fashion that will leave no one unscathed. The dust from last week's shocking vehicular accident involving Luna Nozawa is far from settled. Reports of her demise have reached every corner of Los Angeles. But as every veteran viewer knows, on BNB, a death certificate is often just a plot device waiting for a miraculous reversal. Get ready for deep dives, shocking theories, and the ultimate breakdown of the three biggest stories dominating this week. Luna's End. A death that sparks a manhunt and a massive fan divide. The official word is out. Luna Nozawa is dead. Run down by a mysterious, guilt-ridden driver. Now identified as Dylan, an old acquaintance of Elektra's, and after a complex hospital drama, declared gone. Her reign of terror over Will, Elektra, Finn, and Steffi has seemingly ended. But is it really the end? The answer, according to the cryptic spoilers and the sheer amount of fan speculation, is a resounding NO, the faked death. Lee's dark secret. The biggest twist this week centers squarely on Dr. Lee Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda, the woman who once faked her own son's death to protect him from Sheila. Now, sources confirm she has pulled the same life-saving and highly illegal maneuver for Luna, the deranged granddaughter of her nemesis. Monday shocker. Finn is blindsided by a discrepancy in the hospital's internal records, a signature that looks suspiciously like his mother's. He confronts Lee, but she is cool, calm, and utterly convincing in her grief over Luna. The confrontation leaves Finn troubled, but unable to pinpoint his suspicion at Lee's secret hideaway. The truth, however, is that Luna is alive, but in a medically induced coma in a secret location, a secluded cabin or maybe even an offshore yacht. Lee, driven by a deep-seated, complex mix of guilt, a sense of duty to her family, and a desire to deny Steffi and the Forresters any true peace, is now acting as Luna's sole caregiver. The motive? Lee believes Luna's recent crimes are a cry for help, a direct result of her volatile bloodline and not a true reflection of her soul. She is determined to save her, heal her, and give her a fresh start away from Los Angeles and the authorities. This is Lee's biggest gamble yet. The fan theories explode. The online community is buzzing with predictions about Luna's imminent, or not so imminent, return. Theory names speculation impact on the story. The twin gambit. The person who died wasn't Luna, but a long-lost, look-alike cousin or twin, a popular soap trope. A healthy Luna returns, free of legal troubles, to wreak havoc anew. The coma and pregnancy. Luna wakes from her coma in a few weeks/months, revealing she is pregnant with Will Spencer's baby, the result of her recent spiking/seducing plot. Instantly reignites the paternity drama and forces a custody battle between the Spencers and Forresters. The Sheila Lee alliance. Sheila Carter, who also faked her death and has a twisted love for her granddaughter, discovers Lee's secret and joins forces with her, creating an unholy alliance of two ruthless matriarchs. This would be the most epic and terrifying team-up in BNB history, putting Finn and Steffi in double danger. The shocking reveal. Expect a cliffhanger on Friday where Lee is seen talking to an awake, but still very unstable Luna. Your nightmare is over, my love, Lee whispers, a dark look in her eyes. Now the Forresters' nightmare begins. Lee's manhunt. Finn versus his mother. The ultimate family feud. Lee's decision to hide Luna isn't just a legal issue. It's a massive betrayal of her son, Dr. John Finn Finnegan, who spent months trying to stop Luna's schemes and was recently grieving the loss of his cousin/stepdaughter. This week, Finn's professional suspicions morph into a full-blown, relentless manhunt for the truth. The paper trail. Tension at the hospital. Finn's initial confrontation with Lee leaves him agitated. He decides to perform his own deep-dive investigation into Luna's medical records. He discovers an anomaly in the post-op vitals and a forged signature on the discharge papers. Steffi's instinct. Steffi, ever the pragmatist, warns Finn that Lee is a master manipulator when her maternal instincts are involved. She shares her past experience with Lee's attempts to keep Finn from her. Steffi and Finn realize that if Lee is hiding Luna, they are all in grave danger. The final clue. Finn, tracing a string of high-end medical supply orders that were flagged as private research, finds a delivery address that leads to a remote, abandoned property outside of the city. He recognizes the address It's an old retreat his parents used to own, the Confrontation. The week climaxes with Finn driving to the remote location, determined to uncover his mother's deception. What he finds will be truly gut-wrenching. Luna, hooked up to life support, with Lee watching over her like a sentinel. This discovery sets up a colossal dilemma for Finn. Turn his own mother in for aiding a known fugitive and faking a death, or keep the secret and risk his entire life with Steffi and his children. His oath as a doctor clashes with his duty as a son and a husband. Clinking glasses Deacon's invite. Hope's wedding and a heartbreak waiting to happen while the Finnegan-Nozoa drama is raging, a separate but equally explosive storyline is unfolding around Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, and his tumultuous love life. Hope, Logan, and Liam Spencer are finally heading down the aisle for what feels like the 10th time, and the guest list is causing massive friction. The invitation crisis the wedding snub. Deacon, wanting to be a supportive father, delivers a crushing blow to his wife, Sheila Carter. Kimberlyn Brown, she is not invited to the Hope and Liam wedding. This is a difficult decision made after Beth expresses she is uncomfortable with Grandma Sheila being there, to Sheila's fury. Sheila's reaction is a terrifying mix of heartbreak and controlled rage. She sees this as an ultimate rejection by the Logans and a personal betrayal by Deacon. She vows that she will find a way to be a part of her family, one way or another. Taylor's warning. A worried Deacon seeks therapy from Dr. Taylor Hayes, Krista Allen, confiding in her about Sheila's potential volatility. Taylor is deeply concerned and makes a personal visit to Sheila, issuing a firm, non-negotiable warning. If you crash that wedding, Sheila, the consequences will be final. Not even Deacon can save you. The confession and the new connection, the true shocker this week, is the emotional connection growing between Deacon and Taylor, that a shoulder to cry on. Deacon continues to lean on Taylor, not just as a therapist, but as a confidant. He praises her for her stability, her integrity, and her calm approach. All things he doesn't get from Sheila, the unexpected invitation. On Thursday, in a move that blindsides everyone, Deacon extends a heartfelt invitation to Taylor. He tells her that he sees her as a friend and a source of strength, and he wants her there as his guest. Come to Hope's wedding, Taylor. Not as a Logan, not as a Forrester, but as my friend. The ultimate fallout. If Taylor accepts, the sight of Deacon with a beautiful, stable, invited woman at the wedding, while Sheila watches from the shadows, is guaranteed to push Sheila over the edge. Will Sheila crash the wedding and focus her wrath on Taylor, Deacon, or the Lope ceremony itself? Prediction. Sheila crashes the wedding on Friday, but not to hurt anyone. Instead, she creates a massive scene of public humiliation, delivering a devastating, heartfelt speech about betrayal that leaves Deacon shattered and forces him to make a choice between his terrifying wife and his newfound stable life. The final word. Brace for impact. This coming week is a powder keg. Luna is alive and hidden, making a mockery of the justice system and placing her entire family at risk. Lee is risking her medical career and her relationship with her son to play God. And Deacon is walking a razor's edge between a life of chaos with Sheila and a potential future with the one woman who seems to truly understand him, Taylor Hayes. Today's shocking news. The Lost Chamber of Stoll Prison. A history rewritten in stone and blood. Stoll, Wyoming, the ground beneath the decommissioned Stoll Correctional Facility, a forgotten relic of the American justice system, has yielded a secret so profound, so deeply disturbing, that it threatens to tear the fabric of local history and force a national reckoning with a brutal past. What began as a routine structural survey for a planned demolition has unearthed a meticulously sealed, hidden sublevel, a lost chamber that predates the 20th century prison, linking the site directly to the volatile, forgotten conflicts of the 1850s and shattering long-held narratives of the era. This isn't just an archaeological find. It is a meticulously preserved time capsule of injustice and an agonizing testament to human suffering. A discovery the chief archaeologist, Dr. Evelyn Reed, describes simply as a truth too ugly to have stayed buried. The unearthing, a routine check, becomes a nightmare. For decades, the sprawling, brutalist complex of the Stowell Correctional Facility, active from 1953 to 2018, stood as a monument to modern confinement. Its planned demolition was meant to clear the way for a new community park. It was during the final assessment, beneath the concrete floor of the prison's oldest solitary confinement wing, that the first anomaly was registered, a faint, hollow echo that defied the architectural blueprints. The subsequent excavation, a tense 4-day marathon, culminated in the breach of a reinforced 19th-century brick archway. Beyond it lay a chamber that was not merely a forgotten basement, but a clandestine dungeon carved directly into the bedrock, approximately 30 feet below the modern prison. The air was static, heavy, like a vacuum of time, Dr. Reed recounted in a tearful press conference this morning. The minute the seal broke, you could smell the earth, the old wood, and something else. Something metallic and sorrowful. The Stowell Link, a prisoner of war's shadow. The identity of the site is the key to the discovery's historical magnitude. The modern correctional facility was built atop the former location of Camp Scott, a crucial, volatile point during the infamous 1857 to 1858 Utah War. Historical records have always acknowledged Camp Scott as the temporary prison for key political prisoners of the conflict, most notably William Rufus Roger Stowell, a Mormon pioneer captured and held as a prisoner of war under indictment for high treason. For over 150 years, the narrative of Stowell's imprisonment has been one of high-stakes political maneuvering and ultimate release. The discovery in the sublevel now forces a chilling revision. Chamber of Secrets, the artifacts of agony. Inside the excavated chamber, a series of horrifying and unprecedented finds were made. Chains and restraints. The rock walls were lined with heavy, rusted iron rings and restraints, suggesting a use far more severe than standard military detention. Crucially, forensic analysis of the chains shows they were crafted not from regulation U.S. Army stock, but from a distinctive, locally sourced iron consistent with materials used by a civilian blacksmith known to have worked for the camp's non-military, justice-affiliated components. The Ledger of Sorrow. Tucked into a dry recess, archaeologists found a small, leather-bound book, a personal ledger. Though severely degraded, experts have confirmed the handwriting matches known samples of one of William Stowell's original captors. The ledger is not a military log, but a detailed, chilling account of unregistered prisoners. It documents names, dates of confinement, and horrifyingly brief notes on their final disposition. The list includes individuals not accounted for in any official military or territorial records, men and shockingly a handful of women and children, whose disappearances were previously attributed to frontier perils or flight. The Stowell inscription on the chamber's rough-hewn central pillar, scratched deeply into the stone and then deliberately blackened with soot, is a nearly complete sentence. WRRS, November 1857. They lied. They all lied. This is a clear, desperate inscription from William R. Stowell, dated exactly to the time he was held at Camp Scott. It suggests Stowell was not merely a political prisoner, but was held in this secret dungeon, indicating a level of duplicity by his captors and a greater terror than historians have ever known. The unspeakable truth. What happened to the disorderly persons? The ledger's most shocking entries center on a classification marked simply as DP the test. Historians immediately recognized the term DP from the 1826 trial of Joseph Smith, Stowell's contemporary, who was accused of being a disorderly person or impostor for his use of a seer stone in treasure-seeking. This cultural context, where religious and folk practices could lead to arrest, suggests the secret chamber was used to confine not just POWs, but those deemed socially or religiously disorderly. The discovery of the children's names is arguably the most heartbreaking revelation. The ledger suggests they were the offspring of the disorderly persons held as leverage or worse, separated from their parents and subjected to re-education. This chamber wasn't a standard jail, said Dr. Reed. It was a black site, a place where the niceties of law and political detainment were abandoned. It was used to disappear individuals who posed a threat not to the military, but to the fragile, emerging social and religious order of the territory. The cryptic, the test entries, often followed by an individual's immediate disappearance from the log, have yet to be fully deciphered. Early speculation among the research team suggests it may refer to extreme psychological or physical coercion designed to force recantation of beliefs or revelation of collaborators. The cover-up, a century and a half of silence. Perhaps the most damning aspect of the discovery is the evidence of a deliberate, sustained cover-up. The entrance to the chamber was not merely sealed, it was architecturally erased. The 20th century solitary wing was built directly on top of the entrance point, with foundational supports specifically designed to obscure and render the sublevel inaccessible and invisible to any non-invasive scan. The implication is staggering. The builders of the 1953 correctional facility, decades after the events of the Utah War, were either complicit in a multi-generational conspiracy of silence, or they were forced to hide the embarrassing truth of their property's history by powerful figures. The fallout, lawsuits, and a national debate. The immediate repercussions are already being felt. Descendants of individuals listed in the DP section of the ledger, long aware of stories of vanished ancestors with no known grave, are now consulting with legal teams to demand full transparency and, potentially, the reopening of decades-old cold cases. The local government has halted the demolition of the Stoll Correctional Facility indefinitely. The site is now a cordoned-off National Heritage Zone, overseen by a combined task force of the National Park Service and the Smithsonian Institute. Academics are rushing to reevaluate the history of the Utah War, the early American West, and the murky relationship between federal authority, nascent religious communities, and frontier justice. The question is no longer if historical atrocities occurred, but how many were covered up and who ordered the initial secrecy. We have to ask ourselves, if a prisoner of Stoll's political stature, a man charged with high treason, was held in this darkness and felt the need to write "They all lied," what hope did the average, nameless, disorderly person have? Dr. Reed concluded, "The history books are wrong. We are now tasked with writing the true story, one brick, one chain, and one haunting name at a time." The Stoll Chamber of Secrets is a direct challenge to the sanitized version of American history, a shocking, tangible reminder that the darkest truths often lie just beneath the surface, waiting for the light to expose them.